Okay, so today is tomorrow. We got this thing glued up. Went ahead and put some clamps on the top to bring these seams together a little tighter. And we're ready to pull the clamps off. Now the last step is going to be to attach our top to our bottom. So let's look at this real quick. I remember that where I didn't glue it up very well. I had that seam right there. Well, there it is. You can't really tell from looking at it though, so I think we got away with it. And so what we're going to do is we're going to use these screws. These are just, they're called drywall screws. They're 3 inches long, and we're going to go through the rail like this into our top. You'll notice that the screw is not long enough to, hold that better for you. The screw is not quite long enough to hold the top on. So we're going to do a series of holes that is going to make that screw come down into the top a little bit. So we want the screw to poke out about 1/2 of an inch, maybe 5/8 of an inch down. So what I'm going to do is draw a line from the bottom of the rail down 5/8 of an inch. So that'll give me a way to line up my drill press. And that'll make a lot more sense when I get there. So I'll go, let's go 1/2 inch here. So that line right there is 1/2 of an inch. And then stop here and meet you at the drill press. The drill press, I'm going to start with a big 1/2 inch brad point bit in the drill press, and that's going to set up for what's called a counter bore. A counter bore is a hole that the screw head itself can fit into, and that's going to allow us to make our hole or our screw poke through our board. And so that 1/2 inch line that I drew on the rail, which is right here, I'm going to set this up so that the drill bit only goes that deep. So let me get you in a little closer here so you can see what's going on. So first off, I got to drop the table down. So to drop the table, I'm going to loosen this. So that's loose. The other side, there's a crank right here. And I'm going to crank that wheel down with that lever. And when I crank that wheel down, I'm just going to drop the table itself. So the drill bit's above the work. And I'm going to lock that first lever down to make sure the table doesn't move. So this gets tightened back up. And then now I want to set the stop for the to that line. So again, the line's right there. I'm going to come down and set my drill bit right on that line. So with that drill bit set on that line, I'm going to adjust my stops here. Crank back up here. There we go. I'm going to adjust my stops so that my drill bit only goes as deep as that line shows. So you see how that limits the travel. So I'll come back over here. Get you looking at the line again. So right now, too deep, so I'm gonna adjust my stops a little bit more to get it on that line right there. So take a look at that. So right there, so the hole, the counter bore itself is gonna be 1/2 inch deep, 1/2 inch diameter, and there we go. So I'm gonna drill 8 holes in the middle of the rail. 2 per rail. So you just want to make sure that this part of the handle doesn't hit your leg here. So, and about 2 inches away from the leg is good. And we'll go ahead and I'll grab some glasses and make these cuts. So I'm just going to double check that depth here. I'm going to stick a different drill bit in that hole. Put my thumb right there. Kind of do one of those. Stick it down, put my thumb in there, and then line up with that. And it looks pretty good. All right, so I'll continue on drilling my counter bore holes. Counter bore holes are done. Now I want to drill a hole so my screw will slip through the hole. To do that, I'm going to switch to a 3/16 drill bit. Again, brad point. I guess a twist bit would probably work too, but I opted for the brad point bit. It kind of cuts through a little bit better. So I'm going to take my 1/2 inch bit out. A little warm. And then I'm going to put my 3/16 bit in. Now I want to drill as deep as I can through this, so I'm going to readjust my drill press. Bring my table up. I'll lock it back down. And adjust my stop so I can go as deep as I possibly can. You want to go all the way through, but the drill bit's not quite long enough, so we're just going to go as deep as we can. And then same routine. Just going to go through and drill those holes out. Make sure to get in the center of that first hole. And clear your chips as you go. Get those chips out of there. And I'll finish the rest off camera.